Jason Quigley will fight professionally for the first time on this side of the Atlantic when he enters the ring with Finland's Mathias Eklund at the Copper Box in London on Saturday night. And delighted to have Jason on the line. Evening, Jason.
All right, now lads.
Oh, he's live on Skype. I didn't even realise this. We get the full 360 experience.
There you go now, lads. Special treat for you.
So where are you 2 nights out from a fight? What's the routine? Are you very superstitious around fights? Do you have your sort of final week planned down to a T?
I used to be very superstitious, but over time, and I think through experience, I found out it doesn't really matter what sock you wear or what
What sort of stuff you used to do?
I used to be like everything kind of had to be matching at one stage. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, when I was an amateur, if I was in the red corner, my socks would have to be red, and my underwear would have to be red, and different things like I had there. And one time that it didn't happen and everything wasn't matching, and I put in the best performance ever, and I was like, well, that doesn't work, so I just completely changed from then on.
But you've left all that behind now, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. No, I've left all that behind. I think too, it's just a bit of maturing, isn't it? And you know, once you put in all the hard work and you have the confidence in yourself, then you start to realise I have all the hard work and everything done. It doesn't matter what colour socks I wear.
So this is obviously a hugely exciting week, having your first professional fight back over in this part of the world. Has it been a different week because of that?
Yeah, it definitely has. Now, I have to say, my last few fights, I've had to travel to America 3-4 weeks out, had to adjust the time difference, jet lag, long haul flights, everything like that. This has been a breeze so far, and hopefully that can follow through into the fight. But I think it's great for me because I had 15 fights all the way from home in America, and this is really my first, not a home fight, but one close to home for me, and things is running very smoothly so far, so thank God.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it something actually though you need to be careful of when you are back here? Because I'd imagine when you're in America, you get your close family coming and you get different friends coming to the odd fight, whereas this, I'd imagine now everybody is thinking, here's my opportunity to get across, that everybody wants a little bit of piece of you where you can go around the place in America with a little bit more anonymity. Yeah,
without a doubt, you know, but I'm very lucky. I have a very small team around me, and a small few people that I only kind of let into my hotel room, and that I only let around me, especially at these vital last few days now of just cutting back the last bit of weight, press conferences, keeping the mind right, keeping everything focused. I only have a special few people that I trust and can have around me this close to a fight. And you know, all your friends and everyone like that comes over, and sometimes people don't really understand that I'm on a completely different mindset at this stage. They're all away from home, away from the weekend. There's a good buzz. They're over for a few drinks, having a bit of crack, everything like that. And whereas them are the last things on my mind. You know what I mean? So I need to keep the right people and the right team around me. And then as soon as that's all over,
sure.
And as soon as we get in and put in the performance, get the victory, then it's time to change the mindset then and enjoy myself with all the friends and fans.
Jason, one thing about fighting in the UK means you get to spend a bit more time in your home camp, which is Sheffield now, of course. You're entering your 2nd year now, I think. Is there one element of your game you think has changed specifically since you got involved with Dominic?
Yeah, without a doubt, you know, I have really started to come back into myself. I've had glimpses of it in my last 2 fights where I was back to my more boxing, using my footwork, my hand speed. Don't get me wrong, I still got drawn into a fight in my last 2 fights as well, and that's something that has been implanted in me over the last 3 or 4 years as a professional in LA, you know, more Mexican style, fighting, crowd pleasing, whereas I'm starting to wear out of that now, and it takes time, but I'm definitely getting back to my boxing, my skills, everything like that, and I can't blame LA and Mexican style and all that as well. I'm Irish at the end of the day. We love to fight. You look at the likes of Steve Collins and Barry McGuigan and all those lads, they love to get into wars as well, so that's just in the blood as well.
When you go back to the Ingle camp after after fights like that, and it has turned into more of a scrap. And like the Hernandez fight, you were cruising at the start, and suddenly, as you say, it ends up in a bit of a brawl where it doesn't need to. Like, what's the attitude from the coach? Is it all right? You got the win, move on, learn from it, or is he giving you a bit of stick over it?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said at the start there. It's you got the one, you got the victory. We did what we had to do to get the victory. But there's way to perfect your victories, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at what could have been better. Okay, some people will look at the fight and say, "Oh, you won, just on to the next one." Whereas we've sat back, we've looked at a few things that I stayed on the ropes maybe too long. I stayed inside too long. I let him get off shots that he should never have got off. I should have been on the move a little bit more, used my jab a little bit more, stayed a bit more distant. So there was loads of elements that we have worked on, that we have looked at, and we looked then to obviously improve on every performance and every fight.
Before that fight, Jason, you had been linked with Ryota Murata, who was regular champion at the time with the WBA. He's obviously since lost it, but you mentioned that you had flights booked and everything to go to Tokyo to announce the fight. Was it difficult to adjust your focus from a big, like a high-octane fight like that to maybe a bit more of a routine job against Hernandez?
Yeah, like that was going to be my first ever first-class flight, long haul one, so it was. So it's hard to adjust after that. But no, like don't get me wrong, it was there was a massive buzz and a massive lift around that fight. Obviously, as soon as you turn professional, you want a world title shot. Like obviously not right away, but those are the things that you're aiming towards. And Mayans came on me, and it was right there in front of me. Flights were booked. I think it was 2-3 days away from my flight to Tokyo to the press conference to announce the fight, and Top Rank overlooked the mandatory Rob Brandt, and he kicked up a fuss, and obviously he was mandatory. He deserved the shot, and he got it. But this is boxing. These are the kind of things that come along with the game. There's ups, there's downs, there's injuries, there's people pull out in the last minute, and you just have to adjust. And that's something that I've learned over the while, that it doesn't matter who you're fighting, when you're fighting, until you step into the ring on the night and he's across from you, then you know it's official.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Rob Brandt stepped in and won that fight, so it just shows how close you were to achieving that ultimate dream. We saw you're actually on Charlie Edwards' undercard this week, and he had a fight early in his career and came up short, and then John O'Carroll last week maybe came up short at world level. Are you confident, given you're number 5 at the WBC now, that call can come at any time? Are you confident you'll be able to step up when the opportunity arises and take the shot?
Yeah, 100%. This is what I've trained for. This is why I turned professional. And this is why I do what I do. If I didn't think I'd be able to become world champion, I would have picked an easier job out there, so I would have. But I believe that I can and will be world champion. Saturday night's another stepping stone to getting there. It's getting the ball rolling now for the new year in 2019 and keeping it rolling. And as you says, I'm ranked number 5 in the world now with the WBC. And once you're that high up in the world rankings in any category, you can get the call up tomorrow. And Eddie Hearn says today in the press conference, we have Jason Quigley on the card, ranked number 5, and what a time to be involved with the likes of Golden Boy, the likes of Matchroom, the likes of DAZN. Whenever you mention those 3 names, you have Canelo, you have Golovkin, you have Jacobs, you have Bobo Andrade, you have all the top lads in the middleweight division, and then you have me at number 5, rubbing my hands together, clipping on their heels, ready to catch them.
How much interest do you take in the business side of it?
Well, there's a certain part of it where you have to be aware of it, but at the end of the day, and it's a bit of a cliche, but you do your talking when you get into the ring, and it's such a true saying, because no matter what you do or say outside the ring, if you can't produce the goods whenever you get in there, you'll never get a shot, you'll never get your title, you'll never get nothing. So I suppose it's fun, to be honest, as well, the business side of it, and you know, getting involved in that part as well. It takes away sometimes from the just hard slog in the gym all the time. But you know, boxing's at a very, very exciting time for Irish boxing, for the middleweight division, and for the likes of myself now at the minute, and I'm very excited about it.
Just on the Ingle gym, Jason, I know you've always had a good relationship with Dominic, but things have slightly changed a bit with Billy Joe Saunders leaving the camp and Kell Brook a bit further back. Have you sensed a change in the pecking order? Are you a bit more high profile within the gym itself even?
No, you see, that's the thing that I'm struggling to understand. We have these fighters leaving. We have the likes of Kell Brook, who, you know, has been a servant of the Ingle gym from day one and has achieved everything through the Ingle gym. And, you know, Kell probably has a fight or two left in him and he decides to leave. Billy Joe Saunders had probably one of the worst performances of his career. Came to the Ingle gym, beat Willie Monroe, had the best performance of his life against David Lemieux. He ends up leaving the gym. You know, this is boxing as well. People come, people go, people change trainers. Everyone does this, and for me, I don't really understand it. The reason that I left my trainer in America was because of America mainly itself. You know, it wasn't suiting me. Things weren't working out great over there for me, so I wanted to be a bit closer to home and closer to my family, and that's why I went to the Ingle gym. But the way that it works in the Ingle gym, we have Kid Galahad there now fighting Josh Warrington for the world title, and June 15th, I think that is, you know, and he gets treated no different than me or anyone else in there. He's fighting for the world title now, you know, and I think that's the special thing about the Ingle gym, that, you know, nobody, doesn't matter if you just turned pro or you're fighting for a world title, everyone gets treated the same and we all get the same time.
So Mathias Eklund on Saturday night at the Copper Box, what do you know about him?
I know he's a tough Finnish lad that's gonna come to fight. He's they're all that kind of Viking blood in them up around that part of the world, and you know, once they meet the Irish,
it's not far removed from Donegal blood, I don't think.
Yeah, true, very true. Hopefully my Irish blood won't come in there too much and it'll be an all-out war. But you know, look, at the end of the day, I'm very excited about this fight, and whether it's Mathias or anybody else that's going to be across the ring from me on Saturday night, I'm getting in there to enjoy it and to put in a great performance and kick on in 2019 good and sharp again, because as it says, since my injury, since moving from America over to Dominic Ingle and everything like that, it has been a kind of a, not a slow process, but a more steady process than people kind of wanted. People wanted me in fighting big fights, thick and fast. But you know, everything happens for a reason, and you have to be patient at this game. I've worked my whole career, my whole life to get to this point in my career right now, and you can't just jump ship and take a very risky chance right now in your career after making all the right moves so far. And that was one of the reasons why I moved from LA over to England, was because it was a right, sensible, wise move to do. And then for me to get here and start taking all these crazy fights right away, it takes time. It's a process. And the ball's rolling now, and I'm looking to keep that going in 2019.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, about the balance of the different fights you take on, and fights like this one that you're going into as a strong favourite, and you can build up your sharpness and your fitness and build up some more ring time and learn a huge amount from it, to the fights with maybe more of an added element of danger where really it's all on the line. Is that an ongoing discussion with yourself and the coach and the promoter, or like, are you always trying to push it, or are they, as you said there, is it all about patience?
Yeah, of course, it's always about patience, because as you said a minute ago, the business side of the game as well doesn't always let you get what you want to get in your career. So you have to be patient, and you have to. People think that boxing just starts here and it goes just right to the top. It doesn't. It's a journey. There's so many obstacles. There's so many bumps and hurdles along the way, and these are the things that we have to come up against. But for me, I'm looking to get this fight now on Saturday night, put in a good performance, as I say, you know, I know this lad's tough, and he's going to come to fight, and he's got a chance to catapult his name and himself up and against me. So he's going to be coming fully prepared, ready to grab this opportunity with both hands. But I have to put him back in his box and put him back in his place, and let him know who I am and that I'm ready to start catapulting my career back to where it should be now again, and keep the ball rolling in 2019.
You might have seen on social media today, Jason, it's 10 years exactly since Bernard Dunn won the world title in Dublin. I'm sure you have your own memories of that. That must be the kind of night you're dreaming of yourself. Is there any chance of you bringing a big fight to Ireland in the next couple of years?
Without a doubt, and I've been saying it now these last few years. I think it only makes sense for me I was a very well-known fighter and very well established over here in Ireland and the UK just before I turned professional, and then I turned professional and had all my fights in over in America and got very well established over there with the Mexicans, everything like that. So I have a great mixture now of the kind of UK Irish, the American, Mexican, and now it's about time bringing it all back together again, but bringing it back together back at home where it all started, and this is the start of it now. It makes sense for me to fight more on this side of the water over the UK, and as I said, when I come back to Ireland to fight, I want it to be a big fight, and what better way to do it than bringing Golden Boy Promotions to Ireland for a massive fight one day.
Yeah, something very much to look forward to. You've been great with your time as always, Jason. Just a couple of days out from the fight. Is it a fairly straightforward weight cutting process over the next 12 hours or so?
Yeah, it's good. You know, there's a lot of fighters there looking at me drinking all my water and everything today. It's you know, this is a professional sport, and you need to do things right. You need to surround yourself with the right people, and you know, I live a clean life. I keep my weight under control majority of the time, even when I'm not in camp or not a fight coming up. So I'm here happy. I'm able to chat to you lads tonight, and you know, I'll weigh in tomorrow and fuel back up and feel twice as good then.
What's the Jason Quigley dream post-fight meal?
Post-fight meal, I have such a sweet tooth. Like I love a cup of tea and donuts and biscuits and different things like that. But
Krispy Kreme?
You know, oh, Krispy Kreme. They're in the Meadow Hall, just in the shopping centre right there. And every time I'm going in there, I'm like, oh, just after this fight, just wait after this fight.
It'll be well deserved Saturday night. Jason, great stuff. Best of luck. Hopefully we'll chat to you soon.
Top class, lads. Thanks for having me. See you later.
All right, great stuff as always from Jason Quigley, fighting Finland's Mathias Eklund Saturday night. It's live on Sky.
It is, yeah.
What time do we know?
Well, the card itself will kick off around 7. Jason will be on around that time, I'd say.
All right, perfect. So Saturday night, check that out. And of course, we'll check in with Jason again very soon.